Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Whether it's enjoying fresh wings from the deli while you watch the game or getting ingredients for dinner, Safeway makes it simple to get what you need.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Hi, it's Terry Gross, host of Fresh Air. Hey, take a break from the 24-hour news cycle with us and listen to long-form interviews with your favorite authors, actors, filmmakers, comedians, and musicians, the people making the art that nourishes us and speaks to our times. So listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.
There's a player from Colorado named Nix at the big game this weekend.
No, not Broncos quarterback Bo Nix. This Nix is a lot furrier.
End of the field. She spots a toy at the 3. She's got a grip on it. And she kicks it into the end zone for the field goal.
Nix will be competing in the annual Puppy Bowl, which airs a few hours before the Super Bowl.
That was doggone delightful.
The televised competition promotes the adoption of animals from shelters.
Little Nix is a fluffy white lap dog, believed to be a Bichon Frise mix. He'll be representing the Humane Society of the Pikes Peak region in Colorado Springs, which believes he will bring it with plenty of tail wags and touchdowns.
I'm sure he will. Puppy Bowl 22 begins at noon this Sunday on Animal Planet. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel.
And I'm Bazi Kanani. Coming up, Western states are trying to negotiate a future with less water, a future which feels like it's already arrived.
It's tougher in the dry years to figure it out, but we need a framework that can get us through those as well.
Then, the Olympic drama that you don't want to miss.
Being, 1/10 of a second away from the ultimate dream is certainly bittersweet.
Who's back for another chance at the gold? Who's new? As the Winter Games kick off, we find out which Colorado athletes are the ones to watch.
Plus, the brand new exhibit that former U.S. Senator Ken Salazar wants you to see.
I would hope that the people of Colorado, the 6 million people of this state, really understand this history.
It's Friday, February 6th. Here's the news in Colorado today. It hit 64 degrees in Denver yesterday. That is 20 degrees above normal. And for Sefer Avila,
it's hot. We're trying to go ride the dirt bike. It's a little slow and sticky out, so that's all.
At Ruby Hill Rail Yard, which is Denver's urban terrain park, the snow is soft and patchy, the bike trails are muddy, and it feels less like February and more like early spring. Denverite's Cara Damari was out there.
A lot of people are in short sleeve shirts or even shirtless. I overheard a skier tell his friends he wished he brought shorts. Interestingly, on the other side of the hill, there is a couple sunbathing while their dogs run around. They both have their shirts off. It's comfortable enough. I'm sweating just standing here talking to some people.
Temperatures are expected to get even warmer through the weekend. And while these mild days are great for getting outside, for many, they're shadowed by a real sense of dread. The statewide snowpack is lower than it has ever been at this time of year, and parts of the mountains have slipped into the top category for drought, exceptional drought. This grim water situation comes at a particularly fraught time as Colorado and the other states that rely on the Colorado River race toward a deadline to agree on how to split this shrinking resource. CPR's Ishan Thakur has been following the negotiations and joins us now. Hi, Ishan.
Hey, Bazi.
Can you briefly help us understand how we got here? Why have these negotiations become so difficult?
So the fundamental problem here is that thanks to climate change, there's less water in the river. And at the same time, there are a lot more people relying on it. In 2007, the states agreed to guidelines for the river's largest reservoirs, Lake Powell and Lake Mead. But those are lapsing this year, and they need new guidelines in place. So they're trying to find a new deal that works on those guidelines. But it's hard because, of course, each state has an interest in protecting its residents and their water, and there's just increasingly not enough to go around.
This may feel a bit remote for people. We're not worried yet that we're going to turn on the taps and no water is going to come out tomorrow. But the stakes in this are really huge, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they can't strike a deal soon, that just leads to a lot more unpredictability about how much water each state will have. And as you know, businesses, including farmers, they need to be able to plan. They want certainty. Municipalities also want to know how much water they and their residents are going to be able to use.
Residents may want to know if they can plant grass or not. The Interior Department summoned the governors of all 7 states that use the Colorado River to D.C. last week to see if they could make any progress ahead of a February 14th deadline for a deal. Do you have any sense of if that effort worked?
Well, there's no deal yet, but Governor Jared Polis came out of those talks sounding cautiously optimistic.
Clearly, there's a lot of details here that will take time to work out the words on, but I think we're closer to a framework, and that was really the goal of today's meeting.
What CPR heard from a source close to the discussions is that 6 of the 7 states are close to a framework, but Arizona is still a holdout.
And what are the sticking points?
So there are different visions of what to do in dry times, and also which set of states will bear the brunt of water cuts. So the Colorado River is divided into 2 parts. There's the upper basin, and that includes Colorado, and then the lower basin, and those are the downstream states of Arizona, Nevada, and the agricultural powerhouse of California. So Polis and Colorado, they want states to agree to adapt their usage in real time, depending on how much water is actually in the river and its reservoirs. So, not being constrained by a document that's like over 100 years old. The lower basin states, though, they've already had to accept cuts to their water allocations, and they want the upper basin to share some of that burden.
So what happens if the states can't do this, if they can't strike a deal?
So the alternative is that the federal government just imposes its own plan. And that's one that could be really painful that, no state might like. So the feds, they could just order water cuts, and that could be really hard for cities and places in the lower basin. This could also just end up at the Supreme Court. So states have been lawyering up in case that's what happens. And at a conference last week, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser said that while he wanted a negotiated outcome, the state was prepared for a legal battle.
We can't be afraid of the possibility that we need to defend our rights. And if it comes to that, Colorado is not going to be a sucker.
And this wouldn't be Colorado's only water fight. It's already being sued by Nebraska over the South Platte River. So these battles, they're just flowing from all directions.
And that may be more motivation to get this sorted out soon at the negotiating table. CPR's Ishan Thakur. Thanks, Ishan.
You're welcome.
In the past 2 months, the Olympic torch has traveled from a sacred grove in ancient Olympia across all 110 Italian provinces to its final destination in Cortina. And tonight, it'll arrive at San Siro Stadium for the opening ceremony. If that music doesn't get you fired up, well, we got a few stories that might. CPR's Tony Gorman is here to tell us about some of the Colorado athletes who will represent Team USA at the Games. Tony, our state can claim 24 members of U.S. ski and snowboard. But since we can't talk about all of them, can you tell us about who's piqued your interest?
Yes, Lindsey Vonn is getting all the pub right now with everything surrounding her ruptured knee and her overall comeback. But there are other athletes who are on the comeback trail. Nina O'Brien qualified for the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing and had the 6th fastest time on her first run in the giant slalom. But she crashed near the finish line on her second run and suffered a compound fracture of her fibula and tibia. After extensive rehab, she broke the same leg during a training camp in New Zealand a year later.
The same leg?
Yeah, and she'll compete in the same event in Milano Cortina. Another skier who stood out is River Radames.
Radames, what a name.
Yeah, really rad. Radames kind of snuck up on people in 2022. He was a hair away from earning a medal in the giant slalom mixed team event, and it's been on his mind ever since.
I was on one hand, proud of the performance I had, and I knew that I gave everything I had, but being, 1/10 of a second away from the ultimate dream is certainly bittersweet.
A tenth of a second?
Crazy, right? He'll compete in the giant slalom again this year and possibly in the Super G.
Now, Tony, there's a new event in these games, ski mountaineering, which kind of feels like it has Colorado just written all over it.
Yeah, so ski mountaineering, or skimo, involves climbing uphill on specialty skis and then skiing back down on a different pair. And yes, a Coloradan will represent Team USA. Cresta Butte's Cam Smith spoke with our colleague Tom Hess.
The skis will weigh about 700 grams, and the boots about 450 to 500, which is about the same as a can of soup.
And that's important because skimo athletes have to change from uphill skis to downhill skis really fast.
There can be these really big changes where someone can have a big lead, maybe make a mistake in the transition, or someone else has a really well-executed one and they can make up big gaps. And going through multiple rounds of the sprint, there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of back and forth, and not necessarily like one athlete can dominate from the front.
Smith is an 11-time U.S. ski mountaineering national champion and a 5-time North American champion.
So Colorado Today's sports expert just told me that snowboarding has only been allowed at Aspen Mountain for the past 25 years, which I gotta admit, I have no idea what that means. But anyways, who should we look out for there?
Snowboarder Red Gerard. He's making his third Winter Games appearance, but he hasn't won a medal since becoming the youngest American snowboarder to win gold. He did it in slopestyle at the 2018 Games. Also, look out for Lily Dawanaway, who's making her Olympic debut at 16 years old. She won a bronze medal at the 2025 Winter X Games and is one of the sport's rising stars.
And of course, the Winter Olympics aren't just skiing and snowboarding. How about fan favorite figure skating? USA Figure Skating is based in Colorado Springs, so who are you watching there?
Well, the pair to look out for is Colorado Springs' Danny O'Shea and Ellie Kim. Both are making their Olympic debuts. O'Shea had retired twice between 2013 and 2021, but he returned after Cam needed a partner in 2022. Their age gap is 14 years, and that's the largest for any U.S. pair for at least the last 3 decades. And there will also be pro athletes out on the ice during the games. Coloradan Jacob Slavin is from Erie and plays for the Carolina Hurricanes. He'll be skating for the USA hockey team. The Colorado Avalanche are sending 8 players to Milano Cortina, but only one, Brock Nelson, will compete for Team USA.
Tony, thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's a new exhibit you can see at History Colorado, which takes you back to the time when parts of the state were part of another country. It's called Borderlands of Southern Colorado. Its opening was timed for the 178th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. That's the agreement that ended the U.S.-Mexico War and redrew the map of North America. For former Colorado Senator and U.S. Ambassador to Mexico, Ken Salazar, that chapter of our history is personal.
It's my mom and my dad at the ranch in Los Rincones.
Salazar is donating his family's photos, mementos, and papers to History Colorado.
That's the entrance to the ranch, the name Salazar, the brand. My family has been in what is now the United States for over 400 years. And so when the border was created, we'd already been here 250 years.
Salazar spoke at a recent event at History Colorado. He says too often the heritage of Latino and indigenous communities in the Southwest gets erased or ignored. Much of that history, he adds, survived through oral tradition, passed down from one generation to the next, even though it wasn't written in textbooks.
The oral history that would be handed down to us was a history of the family. And so we learned about our history really at home because we were never taught about it in our schools.
For many families with roots in southern Colorado, that erasure still stings. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo didn't just move the border between the U.S. and Mexico from the Arkansas River to its present line along the southern Rio Grande. It also promised U.S. citizenship and property protections for the Mexicans already living there. In that era, joining the Union meant they were legally considered white, since federal law prohibited the naturalization of non-white residents. But those promises didn't last. Legal loopholes shut many Mexicans out of citizenship and pushed them off their land. Ken Salazar says the fallout is still with us, not just in the Southwest, but across the entire border region.
The horrific pain that still exists today because of the Mexican-American War, which explains much of the difficulty in solving the problems that we face in Mexico and the United States, where those problems really have to be addressed together. But you're not going to get there unless there's an understanding of this history of the United States and Mexico.
Salazar says that at a time when migration is front and center and political division is running deep, creating this understanding is more important than ever.
I would hope that the people of Colorado, the 6 million people of this state, really understand this history. They need to understand other parts of our history as well, but this commitment of knowing who we are, no matter who you are, nobody is better than anybody else. We're all the same. Okay, we're all people.
Borderlands of Southern Colorado launched this week at History Colorado. And if you'd like to hear the full conversation between Ken Salazar and Colorado Matters host Ryan Warner, we have a link in the show notes.
Reporting for today's show came from Denverites Cara Damari and Paulo Shalceda and CPR's Ryan Warner. Follow Colorado Today in your podcast app. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel.
And I'm Bazi Kanani. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Whether it's enjoying fresh wings from the deli while you watch the game or getting ingredients for dinner, Safeway makes it simple to get what you need.